Yes. So again, saw this on Twitter, saw this on Reddit, but the Twitter user that made me and inspired me to create this content here for the stream today was at TJ Cookin, where they have a grid here of sorts where there is, the subtitles of great player, average player, bad player, loved by fans, fans are divided, hated by fans. There's 9 quadrants that have these terminologies that intersect it. So you've got to pick Raptors players from history that fit into the categories that are presented. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do this ourselves. And then look at what TJ produced based on the results from the replies to the tweets that they put out. Pulling it up on Canva here. Wish it was higher res, but it is what it is. So we're gonna start. We'll start with the top left. We'll go to the top row, left to right. We'll go in that order. So great player, loved by fans. This is probably a pretty easy no-brainer one, and I'll find the photos to supplement as we go here. But I think it's pretty obvious that this is Kyle Lowry. Fans love him. I don't think there is any hatred whatsoever for Kyle Lowry. Everything that he did for the team, everything that he brought to the team, and what he accomplished with the team. He was the catalyst of the era that completely changed the outlook on what the Raptors could be. And he was fantastic. He made 6 All-Star teams. I think it was just the 1 All-NBA team. He should have made more. He should have had some all-defense selections. Honestly, like, what a player. What a player. If you don't like Kyle Lowry, you're a Raptors fan, man, like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? You're crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely insane. Kyle Lowry needs to be treasured. He should have a statue. Great player, loved by fans. That's an easy one. Next up, I don't know top of my head who I'm going to put here, but we need an average player who was loved by fans. So what would be like the constitution of an average player? Average player should be a guy that's just getting, some minutes, like, solid minutes off the bench, extended run in the NBA that the fans loved. Who would fall into that category? Average player, loved by the fans. Well, okay, I'll come back to it just because I don't know that one off the top of my head. I do have one for bad player that was loved by fans. And should we go like really bad? We could go for like some really bad players. But no, we should go with somebody who still is like loved by the Raptors to this day. I think that's the way we should approach it. Man, I hate putting this guy. See, this is the right player. You know why this is the right player for this spot? Is because I like this player so much. I do not want to put him on this spot. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to toss Rondae Hollis-Jefferson into the bad player loved by fans. I has to be. The fact that I didn't want to put him here because I like him so much means he's the right choice. I think there's a few guys that could fall into this. Raptors fans just love falling in love with bad players. But the reality is he was out of the league like a few years later. Credit to him. He put up some monster numbers in FIBA with Jordan, I think it is. But yeah, he was coming off the bench, hustled Jefferson. He put up some like really fun performances, really good performances in the next man up season with the Raptors. Like there was a lot of fun having this guy on the team. I think that late 2010s Raptors era overall was defined by the bench, the next man up stuff, and I think this guy embodied it. But the reality was he probably wasn't super good. He probably wasn't super good. You know, the team was good, though. I think that's the problem. He played well on a team that was good. Okay. You know what? I'm going to take him out. We're going to pick somebody else. We're going to pick the guy I was also thinking about because... yeah, this is the right choice here. Because Rondé was good on a team that was good. I think we're going a bit too far there. So I think the next is Yuta Watanabe. Yuta Watanabe, fans loved this guy. Loved this guy. But he wasn't very good. And everywhere he went after Raptors, he wasn't very good. He wasn't very good for the Raptors. The idea of Watanabe was good. You know, tall, long player who could shoot threes. Couldn't really shoot threes for the Raptors. Like, the idea of him shooting threes was great, and I like Yuta Watanabe as well. The idea of Yuta Watanabe shooting threes was stronger than his actual output of shooting threes. Like, yeah, he had this one crazy season with Brooklyn. I get it. You know, and when you got the spacing James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving provide, I think, you know, you're going to maybe hit some threes. But it was never really, like, that deadly on higher volumes for the Raptors. And if he was, he would still be playing the NBA today. Went to Phoenix, didn't play well, ended up getting waived. Went to Memphis, out of the league, sadly. But, hey, Japanese hero. Fans loved him. He just wasn't very good. He just absolutely, positively wasn't very good. All right, I think I've come to the decision on who I'm going to put for the average player that fans loved. And fans loved him because of, you know, his allegiances to the team. And I think that is enough to put him in this spot here. But I think the average player that fans loved is Corey Joe. Canadian player, won a ring with the San Antonio Spurs, ended up getting a spot on the Raptors. He was a solid player. You know, kind of off the bench, backup point guard, solid. And he's still given those solid minutes today. Major props to him. He is still here. He's still playing league. He's playing with the Orlando Magic, still getting decent minutes. And I think that this is the average player that fans really liked. And fans really liked him because he was Canadian, but fans really liked him. And I've got a Corey Joe jersey, man. So for me, I think Corey Joe has to fit into this category of average player loved by the fans. There's some other guys that could have gone in this spot that were loved by fans, but also, like, they weren't average. So I think Corey Joe fits the term of an average NBA player. But hey, he's been average for a long time, and he's still playing the NBA today. He's won an NBA championship. All right, next up, great player. Fans are divided. Now I'll tell you why this is the perfect player for great player that fans will be divided on. Okay? Oh, you know what? Is there somebody that's better for this spot? Because, like, we're talking great player. I think fans are more divided here than on another one. There's definitely two options that could go here. I'm going to go with the more controversial option for the sake of this. And we're going to be going with Fred VanVleet. Now, the reason it's controversial is that a lot of people will see this and go, Fred VanVleet, not a great player. Fred VanVleet's a pretty good player to use to, like, talk to somebody about, to get a good gauge of their ball-knowing ability. Like, if you think Fred VanVleet is just awful at basketball, you don't know ball. The Raptors were way better when he played. The Houston Rockets, even this season, 2025, when Fred VanVleet plays, the Rockets are really good. When he doesn't play, they lose a lot of games. So impactful towards winning. People who just want to surf box scores, surf a basketball reference page, they see his inefficient shooting and go, bad. But no, he is a great player. He was pivotal towards the NBA championship. Like, if he doesn't go crazy against Milwaukee, now granted, he was playing like shit up until that point in the playoffs. But if he doesn't go crazy against Milwaukee, I don't think they win that series. It's possible they don't. He was massive in the NBA Finals. He played extraordinary defense on Steph Curry. He was extraordinary on offense all throughout the NBA Finals and was a monster in Game 6 the game that closed out the NBA Finals. Then after that, when it was just like, wow, caught lightning in a bottle after having a kid for the playoffs. After that, built up to a starting point guard, a guy you had to start. Before that, he'd been a Sixth Man of the Year finalist for the Raptors, made an all-star team, was carrying this team for a little bit. And the relationship soured near the end. Fans didn't like some of his shot selection, and granted, some of it I didn't like as well. He wasn't perfect, but he was a great player and still is a great player to this day. I know Houston overpaid him, but there's a reason he went into free agency and got $40 million per year. He is a good player, and the fact that a lot of people watch this think he's not a great player means that fans are certainly divided. So now we need an average player that fans are divided on. So a guy that's like, that average guy. But still, there's fans who think he's better than he is. There's fans that think he's worse than he is. I'm not sure who's going to quite fit into this tier. Average player. Need one of those bench guys. Who's the bench? I mean, the Raptors fans just love so many players. It's hard to find a guy who's kind of just trudging along his NBA journey that fans are like mixed opinions on. Like, I feel like if you're just trying hard playing for the Raptors, they're going to like you. Maybe we have to think about this one a little bit as well. Maybe we have to think about this one a little bit. You know what? Do I put him here? Or is he a bad player? I don't think I can put him in. I think this is the right spot for this guy. All right. So I think the next player that has to go here, I think you could argue he's bad. But I think he's done enough, especially since the trade, to warrant this position. I'm going to put Precious Achiuwa here because he's still getting regular NBA minutes. He was always getting regular NBA minutes for the Raptors. He just wasn't very good. I think everybody kind of you know what? I think they're not divided. Everyone kind of recognizes that he's not very good. Okay, maybe not the right player there. I just thought about this. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think I found a new player that fits into this category even better that I'm going to toss in here. Yeah, I think this fits better. Fans really like this guy. Some fans really don't like this guy. So here's the perfect player to put here. It's actually Chris Boucher. He's on the team right now. I was actually thinking, could I even put this guy as an average player that fans love? I don't think so. Fans are divided. Some really think he's good. I'm not so sure about that. Some fans think he's really bad. I might lean towards that direction. He has those purple patches that make you think, man, he's amazing. Then he has those downtime you think, wow, this guy's not very good. I think if he ended up on the Denver Nuggets, he'd fall out of rotation if he did get traded there, honestly. But I don't know. Tough to really hate him. I don't hate him. I want him to do well. I think he's a good player when he's playing well. I think he's such a fucking good player when he's playing well. But at the end of the day, I think he's an average guy coming off the bench, and I think fans are ultimately divided on him. Bad player that fans are divided on. I think this is the hardest tier to do. Bad player. Who's a bad player that fans were kind of like, eh. All right, I think I have it. Yeah, I think I have it here. I think this player might just be Matt Thomas. He wasn't good. Raptors signed him, this three-point shooter out of Europe, Mr. 99% shooter, whatever. He was bad. He was a black hole on defense. He wasn't that good of a shooter for the Raptors. But, fans were always clamoring to see this guy play. They were always trying to get this guy on the floor. And I think at the time, I even didn't quite understand the whole game enough to recognize that, yeah, Nick Nurse couldn't play this guy really. But fans still talk about him to this day. Fans are divided a little bit as to the value that he brought to the team. But in the end, he just wasn't good. And he's playing in Europe now. And there's a reason that he's playing in Europe. You know who else could go here? Terrence Davis II could go here. But that's a whole can of worms I don't want to open. All right, now the hate. Raptors fans love to hate. Absolutely love to hate. So great player, hated by fans. Hated by the majority of fans. I think for great player that fans are divided on, we could have easily gone with DeMar DeRozan. I think even Vince Carter would have been a really good exception there. Both would have worked. I went for Fred VanVleet because he is the most controversial name I could have put there. And I want to make my stance that Fred VanVleet is a great player. So for great player, hated by fans, that has played for the Raptors, it's tough. To be a great player that the fans just hate, I'm not so sure. Like Kawhi left, fans don't hate Kawhi. They don't. Tracy McGrady had issues with management, ended up leaving. I don't think fans hate McGrady. I don't think they do. Those are kind of the names that pop up here. So a great player that fans hate. All fans, like the grand majority of fans hate. I think we'll come back to this because I don't really have one off the top of my head. But I tell you, I got an average player that fans hate. Oh, yeah. That man, Goran Dragic. Average player. Very average when he was on the Raptors. Briefly. Hated by fans. He hates the Raptors. We hate him. Maybe if his NBA career had not fizzled out completely, after joining the Raptors and leaving the Raptors, where he was just an irrelevant footnote to the NBA, did nothing of significance, was trying to ring chase, ended up ring chasing, but being on all these shit teams as a result. He left the Raptors to chase higher ambitions and went to a team that finished lower than the Raptors in the standings. I think it was the Brooklyn Nets. Then he started ring chasing, never got close to an NBA championship. Will ultimately end his career with 0. Sorry, man. I mean, higher ambitions. Not like we've accomplished much, but he's done even worse since he left the Raptors than we have been. So, yeah, fuck this guy. Goran Dragic, average player. You have to recognize he's at least an average player. Absolutely hated by the fans. All right, bad player. Hated by fans. I guess it's more easy. When a guy turns up and is really, really bad, fans are not going to like him at all. Actually, just thinking great player. It could have been Siakam as well. Raptors fans love to just hate on people, man. Even guys that are good at basketball, playing well. Raptors fans just, they want to be haters sometimes. Goran Dragic is warranted to be a hater for. I'm trying to piece, who is the bad player? Who is the bad player? I got it. Yeah. Especially this season, he was here. I don't hate him, but the fan base does. And the bad player that fans hate is Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines just had a really good 1 year with Phoenix, where he was rebounding well, he was defending the rim okay, but he's spacing the floor really well. Off the back of that season, the Tampa Raptors signed him. Made sense fit-wise. He just turned up and was back to his old self. He just wasn't good. Absolutely wasn't good. And he is, often brandished as the face of the tank, right? The face of that Tampa season where the Raptors lost so many games. In the end, maybe he wasn't the right guy to sign. Also, he had to fill the shoes of Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol because the Raptors signed him and Alex Len to replace Gasol and Ibaka. Oh, my God. But, he was really, really bad, and fans really hated him for how bad he was that season. So I think Aaron Baines has to be there. And I'm trying to think of great player, hated by fans. nobody's coming in getting booed at this point. They've come around enough on Vince. They've come around enough on McGrady. They've come around enough on Bosch. Like, I can't think of any great player that's showing up and getting booed, basically, because that would be the guy like that you would kind of fit into this category. Maybe it has to be Vince. Maybe it just has to be Vince because enough of the fan base hates him for leaving. But he had his jersey retired. He got applause. I don't think I can put Vince here because of that. So who is it? All right. I don't really want to put any Raptors here because I don't think any Raptors truly fit here. Leave a comment if you think you have a guy that fits into this category that's just overwhelmingly hated by the fans. I'm going to break the rules here just because I hate this guy and just, fuck this guy. We're going to use a non-Raptor. Joel Embiid we're going to put here. Not a Raptor. Hopefully won't be a Raptor. But, yeah, Joel Embiid, hated by fans. I cannot think of a Raptor. Like, Vince Carter's too many people like him. I don't think enough people care about Tracy McGrady to put him in there. Chris Bosh, fans have moved on. I don't think there's any proper answer for this one for the Raptors off the top of my head. But, yeah, let's see what the Twitter user came up with here for theirs. This is mine. Let me know as well if you agree or disagree. This is what the user came up with. I don't know if they didn't just post the final one, but they didn't post a bad player hated by fans. That just didn't end up happening, at least that I saw. So they went with DeRozan as great players, fans divided. I think that's fair. Wow. Oh, my God. They have Ibaka as an average player loved by fans. I think that's disrespectful to Ibaka. I think Ibaka is better than an average player, to be honest. So, not for me. Definitely loved by fans. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm fucking talking about. Because Fred VanVleet is really good. And they have him as average. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, he's almost on a max contract. We're talking about this guy being an average player. I guess that's why his fans are divided, right? They put Achua as bad. I get it, but I think there's worse, to be honest. So I didn't want to do Achua like that. Yeah, absolutely Goran Dragic's right guy here. They went with McGrady. Fair enough. They also went with Yuta Watanabe. Also fair enough. But, yeah, overall, I think it was a fun list. Do you agree with mine? Let me know.